The study of the Quran and Hadith tells us that before the end of human history on earth, some clear signs will appear which will serve as the final warning for man. After the emergence of these signs, God will command the angel Israfil to blow the trumpet. Then all of a sudden, human history, having passed through its temporary phase, will enter its permanent phase. That is to say, the blowing of the trumpet will mark the end of the phase of action and the beginning of the phase of reward. The report of the climate change shows us that all the signs have already appeared. These signs are multifarious, but we shall describe only a few of them here. Number 1. We have been told of a sign to appear before the Qiyamah. Soon a mountain of gold will appear in the Euphrates River. When people learn about it, they will rush to take possession of it. Those who are near it will say that if they allow others to take it, they will take all of it. Then there will be a war to take control of it. In that war, about 90% of the people will be killed. In this tradition, it is very clear that what is meant here is petroleum, which is currently referred to as liquid gold. This liquid gold has appeared in the Euphrates as well as in the Middle East. Many wars have been fought for this industrial treasure and are still being fought, leading to great destruction. Today, this prediction has undoubtedly been fulfilled. This event is another sign that Qiyamah is no longer far off. Doomsday, heralded by the above-mentioned signs, will, according to the creation plan of God, bring the first phase of human history to an end. The post-Doomsday phase will then commence. Number 2. According to a tradition, the Prophet of Islam said, "There will be a very great occurrence in the future, that is, a house will be burned. This will surely happen." Let us look at the wording of this hadith. This is not about burning a common house. It is rather about the burning of a very big structure, the like of which did not exist in ancient times. This prediction is perhaps about the event which took place on September 11, 2001 in New York, USA, where the famous World Trade Center, built in 1970 to 1972, once stood. With its 110 stories, it was Himalayan in structure. It was just not possible to demolish it or burn it by ordinary methods. On September 11, 2001, 2 airplanes were hijacked and then crashed at great speed into the World Trade Center. As a result, there was a big explosion and the entire building was reduced to ashes. Many factors were required for such a happening to take place. For the first time in human history, these factors had become available to man. In such a situation, the fulfillment of this unique prediction in the 21st century, which is a certain sign that the hour of doomsday has come very close. Number 3. According to a tradition, the Prophet of Islam said that doomsday would not take place until Hajj has exceeded its limit. People then asked what Hajj was. The Prophet replied, "Killing, killing, and more killing." When the Prophet of Islam came to the world during the first quarter of the 7th century, modern weapons had not yet been invented. It was unthinkable at that time that killing and bloodshed would ever become rampant. This has become possible only in the present days, when weapons of mass destruction have been manufactured and it has become possible to kill on a mass scale. As such, we find that in present times, innumerable incidents of killing and bloodshed are taking place on a daily basis. This state of affairs is an indication that Doomsday has come very close. It is proof enough of the veracity of this prediction that it was made a long time ago when the present kind of bloodshed and violence was totally unthinkable. Number 4. According to another tradition, the Prophet of Islam said, Qiyamah will take place only when there is no one left to remember God. This hadith does not mean that the people will stop taking God's name. Rather, what is meant here is the remembrance of God at the level of realization as we find from the Quran. According to the Quran, those who believe love God most and stand in awe of none but God. True believers are those whose hearts tremble with awe at the mention of God. But when such people are not to be found on earth as acknowledge God's greatness in the real sense of the word, then we may take it that Doomsday has come very close. Man's existence and everything that has been given to him are all gifts from God. Hence, not acknowledging God for all his blessings is no simple matter. Such a state of affairs means that people are partaking of God's blessings to the fullest possible extent, but they do not acknowledge their benefactor. When such a state of affairs prevails on earth, it means that man has totally lost any justification for his being given any further opportunity to inhabit this world. In present times, this prediction has been fulfilled. Today, there is no dearth of people who recite the name of God by way of lip service, but such people have no value in the eyes of God. So far as remembering God in the real spirit is concerned, there will be very few people on the earth who will come up to the desired criterion. One clear proof of this is that with the advent of the age of the printing press and with increased frequency of public speaking, Muslims have been engaged in great activities, but we do not find people who are immersed in the remembrance of God. People are rather basking in community pride than living in the glory of God. We do not find any mention of the glory of God in the real sense in the speeches and writings and in the activity of present-day institutions. The reason is that people have discovered the greatness of the community, but they have failed to discover the greatness of God. In such a situation, it is but natural that their lives should be devoid of the remembrance of God's glory in its true spirit.